What kind of goals do you set? Do you set small goals? Do you set big goals? Do you set smart goals? My name is Corey Sather. I ran across America almost 3,000 miles from California to New York, and these are my 8 rules, my 8 laws to achieving big, remarkable, bold, life-transforming goals. The kind of goals that you're known for, the kind of goals that change your life, the kind of goals that you talk about for the rest of your life. Those are the kind of goals that you need to set, because small goals, well, they don't have any energy. They don't have any feeling. They don't change your life. Small goals, if you're going to set a small goal, you might as well not set a goal at all. Now, that said, what's a big goal for you now, one day in the future will probably be kind of small looking back. And that's what you want, because this small goal today, this goal that's big today is going to lead to other goals. But then when you look back, you're going to realize those weren't all that big goals compared to what you're achieving in the future. And so that's why you want to set the biggest goal for you right now, because that will transform not only this moment of your life, but how you achieve the next one and the next one. That will lead to more things. It'll open up more doors. And so when I look back at my bucket list, I look back from, say, 15 years ago, some of the goals I had on there, I look back now, I was like, they're kind of dopey. They're kind of silly. And I was like, oh, you're almost embarrassed to admit that, like, yeah, that was my goal, because I've achieved so much since then. But back then, they were pretty big goals for me. They were stretched they were getting me pretty far outside of my comfort zone. And that's what you want, because that leads to more opportunities and leads to bigger goals. And it builds the muscle, not only say necessarily the physical muscle, but the mental muscle, the emotional muscle, so that you can achieve goals. Because when you have undeniable proof that you can achieve things, you'll achieve more. And you build more confidence. So you're building your confidence muscle, your emotional muscle, your mental muscle, your discipline muscle, your focus muscle. You're building all these things as you achieve goals. That's why you want to stretch for bigger goals. And that's rule number 1, is to set big, audacious, life-transforming goals. Now, you may not want to run 3,000 miles across America like me. You may not even want to run across the street. But what is the big goal for you now? So let me give you a couple more examples. Shannon Galpin, she biked through Afghanistan when women weren't even allowed to bike at all, weren't allowed to be on a bicycle in that country. And she didn't only garner a lot of notoriety from that country, from her country, but also from countries around the world. And she helped change the women's rights in that country, and by extension, helped in other countries as well. There's also Amy Purdy, who is a Paralympian snowboarder and double amputee. After she lost her limbs, she got prosthetics, and then she started competing again. Maggie Doyne, 18 years old, and she built a school for children in Nepal with $5,000 of her own money. She built this 18-year-old kid in another country. She builds a school for children starting with her own money. It's pretty amazing. Those are big goals. I mean, you could talk about the big goals of people like Elon Musk and the invention of the light bulb and all these other things. That's great. But what about the little bit more everyday goals? What if right now your big goal is to lose 50 pounds? What if you've been overweight for a while and you want to get to be healthy and fit? That's a big goal. That's a worthy goal. That is a life-changing goal. Maybe it's to get out of debt. Maybe it's to move from where you are to someplace that you enjoy. Maybe it's to change careers. These are all life-changing goals. These are big goals. Now, they may not be big to other people, but it's big to you. That's what's going to change your life. So forget the small goals. Don't even bother with the small goals, because they're not going to change your life. So you're better off putting your energy towards the big goals. Put all of your energy towards the big goals. And that's what changes your life. Because if you major in minor things, then you'll never achieve anything great. You have to major in things that change your life. You have to put all your energy and focus. And that's rule number 2, is to be obsessed with your big goal, to be obsessed with your vision, to be relentless in achieving your goal. When I was running across America, even when I was bored, when I was tired, when I was sore, when I was in so much pain, tears were coming down my eyes, when I wanted to give up over and over and over and over, because it was so hard, brutally hard at times, I had to be relentless in achieving that goal. I had to be obsessed. Now, some people, if you're obsessed like that, they'll say you're crazy. They'll be cynics. They'll tell you not to do it. They'll tell you to have more reasonable goals and all of these other things. But you can't listen to these dream stealers and these naysayers, because they don't have the vision that you have. They don't have the desire that you have. They don't want the same things that you want. So when they're telling you to be more reasonable and set realistic goals, set smart goals, screw that. Set unrealistic goals for you in this moment and then go be relentless, be obsessed and achieve it. Before I ran across America, 1 year before, I was not a runner. So when I told my friends and my family and everybody I knew, hey, I got this idea, I'm going to run across America. I was 39 years old at the time. So way beyond what typically is an athletic prime, what's considered athletic prime, 39 years old. And I got this idea. I'm telling my friends and my family and everybody else, like, I got this amazing idea. I'm going to run across America. I'm going to run a marathon a day for 100 consecutive days. What do you think they said to me? They all said, you're crazy. You're stupid. It's never going to happen. It's impossible. They all said that because it was an unrealistic goal, not just for me, but for virtually anyone. But I had heard about a guy that did it. And I was like, that is the coolest freaking thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I want to do that. And it was at that time that I was looking for a life transformational, changing, epic goal. And I was asking myself over and over if I could do anything and I would not fail, what would I do? And I kept asking myself that question. If I could do anything and I would not fail, what would I do? See this video about this guy who ran across America. I'm like, that's it. That called to me. It may not call to you. You may not ever want to run even one marathon, no less 100 in a row. But what is the thing that's calling to you? I've had lots of other goals that were not athletic that were calling to me too. Living in other countries, learning another language, things like that. These are all big goals. And so what is the goal for you? What can you be obsessed about that will change your life? Things that are unrealistic, because what's unrealistic for you now is only unrealistic until you achieve it. Nobody thought that I would finish running across America. Nobody thought not even my crew that were with me, that I was paying to be with me. They didn't even believe in me. Nobody believed in me. I had to believe in myself. Just like Elon Musk just landed a rocket ship into the cradle for the takeoff thing. I don't know what it's called, but he just first one to ever do it. Nobody thought that was possible. NASA and the US government couldn't do that. But yet this guy goes and figures out, and his team, of course, go and figure out how to do it. Elon Musk probably didn't have much to do with it. It was probably all of his scientists and engineers and stuff. But anyway, they figured it out, but it was Elon's idea to make it happen when nobody else thought it was possible, to bring a rocket ship back in and land it safely so that it can be reused for space travel. Unrealistic goals change your life and sometimes change the world. So number 3, fearless action. You got to take fearless action because boldness is rewarded. So you got to take fearless action. But then you might be saying, well, how do you take fearless action? How does that work? Because I'm afraid, like when I went to speak in front of an audience for the first time, I was scared to death. I'm holding onto the lectern. It's not a podium, it's a lectern. I'm holding onto the lectern so tight that people thought I was going to break the lectern because I was so scared. I was a carpenter and I wanted to do something else for my career. And I had seen a guy who was speaking up on stage and motivating, inspiring people. I didn't even know it was a career. I'm like, that is the coolest thing ever. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be a carpenter anymore. I want to be like that guy. And then there was other speakers that were there too. And I was like, I just watched one amazing speaker after the other. I was like, that's a career. You can do that. And not only is that a career, you make great freaking money doing that if you're good. And so I was like, that's what I want to do. So I became obsessed with becoming a great speaker. And I had to step through my fear. That's how you become fearless. You step through your fear enough times that it becomes comfortable and then it becomes easy. And then then you become fearless. Because you have enough irrefutable proof that you can do it. I failed so many times as a speaker learning how to become a great speaker, but I was obsessed with it. I joined Toastmasters group, which is a speaking group. Then I joined another club, then another club, then another club, then another club. And I volunteered for every single speaking opportunity I could, every single one that I could. And I spoke for free for years to be able to eventually be able to get paid for a speaking event to now making $20,000 for a 1-hour talk for a corporation or for other organizations. That didn't happen by accident. That happened on purpose. Happened because I was fearless. I became fearless. I stepped through my fear enough times and became good enough that I could get up in front of a stage. And I might feel a little bit of butterflies. I might be a little bit nervous going on there, but that's when I know I'm ready. Because if I go up there and I'm just like, oh, okay, let's go up there, then it's not going to be good. But I'm like, I'm jazzed, I'm ready, I'm excited, I'm pumped, and I go up there and I speak, and you'll often find me in the back of the room 5 minutes before I'm going on, and I'm doing push-ups because I want my body, my physiology, my mind, my emotions, I want everything ready to go and go give a great presentation. That's why I can get paid so much money, get almost $20,000 for a single 1 hour talk, because I had the big audacious goal to go from a carpenter, as blue collar as you get. My dad, my brothers, my uncles, all carpenters. How do you go from that to becoming a guy that's speaking, that's getting paid all that money? Gotta have big, audacious, big goals. You've got to be bold. You got to be relentless. You got to learn. You got to master your craft. And you've got to be obsessed. So that's the 3 so far. Now 4, you got to have an unstoppable mindset. You've got to build your mindset, because everything happens or doesn't happen because of what's here between your ears. What's here between your ears makes all the difference in the world. This, your mindset, your emotions, these are the most important things in your life. So you got to build the muscle of mindset. You got to build the muscle of discipline. You've got to build the muscle of focus. You've got to build the muscle of being relentless, of consistency. And consistency is often the difference between an amateur and a champion. Someone who's getting paid doing speaking events for free, and someone who's getting paid 20 grand or more for a speaking event. When I was going through the Toastmasters organization, I had a lot of friends, and they all said, I want to become a professional speaker. They entered competitions. They were good. In fact, they were better than me. They were way better than me, some of these guys and women. And yet none of them are speaking professionally for a fee for making money. None of them, because they didn't have the consistency, or they didn't become fearless enough. They didn't build that muscle to be able to do it for a living. And so they're still in their corporate jobs, semi enjoying their lives, when they could have been living their dream. But for whatever reason, it's all up here, mindset, but for whatever reason, they had some sort of mind garbage that kept them from achieving the life that they wanted to live, the life that I get to live now, even though we all went through the journey at the same time. And they were younger, smarter, better speaking, better looking than me. And yet I'm the guy doing it, because big goals, because I became obsessed, because I became relentless, and because I created an unstoppable mindset. That's how I ran across America. So you got to have an unstoppable mindset. It's the muscle, building the muscles of discipline, focus, being relentless, and consistency. And that leads us to number 5, which is to embrace the suck. You've got to embrace the suck. You've got to stretch your limits. You got to get out of your comfort zone. This is part of being fearless, but it's a different facet of that same idea. It is sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone. And that's really hard to do. And I learned in the Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, to do things outside your comfort zone. So I did a lot of the stuff that he did, and I did a lot more to be able to step out of my comfort zone. So like he talks about in the book, is to ask for a discount when you don't normally get a discount. They're going to say no, probably, but maybe not. And so you learn to do that. Sit down on the floor, lay down on the floor for no reason at all, stay there for a couple minutes, and then get up. What I learned to do also was to meditate in places like New York City, in Grand Central Station, when people are going by, and you just sit down in the middle of this place until the cops come and tell you to move on, and meditate there and sit there and block out everything that's there. Great mental strength, but it's also great for getting out of your comfort zone. And so that's why you do that. You've got to create that mental endurance to be able to do something amazing. You've got to embrace the suck when you're going through the worst parts of life. Not only of the ideas like when I ran across America, but what about when you're just going through the crap of life? You're going through a divorce, you're going through financial trouble, you lost a job, you're having trouble with your kids, someone passes away, you have all these things that life will knock you right off your feet, right onto your rear end, and it will throw you for a loop. You've got to embrace that suck, knowing, this is the important part, knowing that there's something better on the other side, that you'll recover, that you can be better, that you can grow from this, that you can learn, because there's always a blessing in everything. It's a blessing in everything that happens in life, but you've got to look for it. you've got to find it. Which leads us to the next one is number 6 is always adapt and course correct. An airplane, whether on automatic pilot or the pilot's manual flying, they're always adjusting the plane because the winds and the altitude and everything else, or the dynamics of flying a plane will keep that plane off course if it isn't constantly adjusting to get from where they were to where they're going. So fly from New York to Las Vegas, for example, every moment of that trip, that autopilot is correcting the direction to compensate for the variables in life. Like we just talked about, there are variables in life. You lose your job, you don't get the promotion, you have a health problem. I just had a health problem recently, which luckily turned out to be a minor thing, but in the moment, it was scary as hell, and it was a major thing for the moment. But from that, I learned certain things about my body that I didn't know, and I'm very well read in biology, something I didn't know, and so I was able to correct this. So now I'm bigger, better, stronger. At 53 years old, I'm getting ready for another big epic thing. And so I'm as strong as I was 12, 13 years, almost as strong as I was 12, 13 years ago. I'm building back up to that. And now that health scare was actually a benefit for me because I learned something about my body that will weaken it. And how do you counteract that to actually make it stronger, which is amazing. Maybe I'll do another video on that one day. And so you have to always adapt and course correct. And whatever is thrown in your way, you use that as a way to propel you forward. Use that as a stepping stone to leap ahead, because in every challenge, there's opportunity. And that leads us to number 7 is focus on progress, not perfection. Look how far you come. Celebrate how far you've come. When I was running across America, if I focused how far that I had to go, I had another 2,000 miles to go, and that would just totally demotivate me and make me want to give up right there. But if I remembered, oh, wow, I already ran 1,000 miles, or even in the beginning, I ran 100, then I ran 200, then 500, then 1,000, then 1,500, then 2,000. I'm coming into the finish line. Now it becomes easier because I'm so much closer to the goal than I was when I started. And so that's what you have to focus on and celebrate the wins, how far you've come, how much you've succeeded. Celebrate the minor things that are going well. Even when everything else is falling apart, find the things that are going well and celebrate them, which now leads us to number 8, which is align with your passion and purpose. You've got to align with your passion and purpose, because if you're doing something you don't like, unless you're getting paid some ridiculous amount of money, you're not going to want to do it and keep doing it and stay motivated to do it. So you've got to align to your passion and purpose. And this isn't some like woo-woo thing. It's like, oh, find your passion and do that, and you'll never work a day in your life. Yeah, that's true, and it's great, but it's also, you got to be aligned with what's real for you, what's organic, what's going to make you happy, because sometimes you can be aligned to a goal that may not be your passion, but the result or the outcome of that goal is what you're aligned with. So you may not be aligned with the activities, but you're aligned with the outcome. And that's what running is for me. I don't particularly love running. I love the way running makes me feel, but I'm not a guy that like, hey, let's go run 50 miles. I'm not like that. I have friends like that. I mean, they're like, come on, let's go run 30 miles. I'm like, you're freaking kidding me? I don't want to go run 30 miles, but I will do it because I'm so passionate and aligned and in love with the goal of running 30 miles. It's the goal of doing it, not the actual running itself. I kind of don't like running. I kind of almost hate it at times. Love the way it makes me feel. Love the accomplishment of it. Love what it can do for me, what it's done for my career. Running itself, not so much. So it's not only being aligned with your passion, but it can also be aligned with what that goal is. And then that goal, the outcome, becomes your passion. But you've got to be doing something that in some way is giving you a life of meaning, a life that's fulfilling to you, achieving something that is something you're going to be grateful for that you did, because the only thing we have on this earth here and the time that we have here is we're trading what we do for our life. And so, yeah, of course, you got to be a great parent. Of course, you got to make enough money to pay your bills. Of course, you have these other, what we might call obligations. Yes, I get that, but you're also trading your life. Literally, you're trading your life for what you accomplish while you're here, for what you leave behind by what you've done. Did you write a book? Did you create something? Did you build something? Did you start something? Did you change somebody else's life? For example, the coaches. My son's in high school. He's playing football. The one coach, he absolutely adores him, and my son is becoming so much better of a person through this experience of football. And this coach is changing his life, and probably many of the other kids throughout the years, not only this year but other years, changing their life. So this coach is doing something amazing. This is just something he does on the side. It's high school. He doesn't get paid for it. I don't even think he gets a stipend for it. And so he's doing it because he's passionate about it. He's changing his life. My books, my run across America, speaking to audiences, this all changes some lives. And that's what we'll have at the end, what we've done while we're here. So now a lot of people, fortunately, a lot of people will go through life at some mundane corporate job that they don't really like, living a very mundane life and not living the life that they want to live, but accepting what they have. And they're trading that at the end of their life. And then what is going to be their legacy? What is going to be remembered after that? It's kind of cold-hearted in a way, but is it? I'm not so sure. It's reality. We trade our lives for what we've done. So why not make it worthwhile? Why not do something incredible? I've traveled the world. I was nomadic for a bunch of years because I had never traveled before. And once I started traveling, I'm like, I got to do more of this. So I started traveling the world, and I was traveling around Asia, Mexico, Costa Rica, living in Colombia, and traveling around America. I've seen almost every state in the country. Haven't seen Alaska yet, and a couple of the northern states, but almost every state, because I wanted to see the world while I was young, while I could. And so I did. And now I've done that, and I want to see other parts of the world, but that gave me that experience. And now those experiences have led me into other things and give me experience and knowledge and understanding that I wouldn't have any other way. Just like learning a language. I speak Spanish nearly fluently at this point, my second language. And that understanding not only of the language, but the cultures that I've interacted with and lived in, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Colombia, understanding the cultures and how other people think different than us as Americans, that changes you because you see the world differently. Living in Asia, Asians think very different than we do in our American Western culture. They have a very much more meticulous way of thinking than we do. They have a much better understanding of the balance between science and nature. And there's things that we just don't embrace here like they do in Asia. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely amazing and extraordinary. So the more you get to experience these different things, the more your life will change, and the more that will create the impact and other things that you do. So at the end of this life, that you have left some sort of an impact and made this life better. So here are the rules. Let's go through all 8 of them again. So set big, bold goals. Set really big, bold goals. Be obsessed with accomplishing those goals. Be absolutely obsessed with the vision and be relentless. Fearless action. And you get fearless by taking the small actions that build the confidence, the irrefutable proof, so that you become fearless and you can do anything. Number 4 is have an unstoppable mindset, because everything starts and ends right here between your mind, your brain, and your emotions. You have to build the muscle of discipline, of focus, of getting out of your comfort zone, of achieving these big things, and consistency. Build the mindset and the emotion. And then embrace the suck. Not only stretch your limits, but embrace the suck. So when life is hard, when you're going to when you're achieving your goal and it's hard, you got to just embrace that suck. Just be in the moment. Say, accept this. Like, okay, this is where I am. But remember, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on the other side of it. And life is going to be better and more beautiful and more amazing when I get there. So don't fight the suck. Embrace the suck. Embrace the hardship and the challenge while you're in the moment, so that you can move through it faster. And then always adapt, always course correct, like a plane flying from one location to another. Got to always correct, because when life knocks you off your feet and knocks you on your butt, you've got to course correct and constantly keep moving towards the goals that you want. Go through financial trouble, health trouble, divorce, anything else. It's an opportunity to course correct and make life even better. And then you've got to focus on progress. Celebrate the progress, how far you've come already, and celebrate the minor ones, the minor progress along the way, the minor wins along the way. because the more wins you have, the more proof you have, the more success you'll have, the more confidence you have, the more fearless you'll become, and the more you'll achieve and the easier it will be. And then finally, align with your passion and purpose, whether the passion and purpose is in the action itself or the passion and purpose is in the goal. And those are two different things. You could be aligned with the action itself. Like I love writing. I'm passionate about writing. I love to write when I'm writing, but I don't love running, but I love the outcome of running a marathon. I love the outcome of how I feel. Those are the difference. So align with your passion and purpose, whether it's the action or it's the result. And so those are the 8 rules, the 8 laws of achieving really, really big, audacious, life transforming goals. If the goal isn't going to change your life, you really need to consider, is it worth doing? And if it's not worth doing, then don't do it. Forget it. And then go find a goal that will change your life. Hey, I've got this group. It's called Unstoppable Life. You can join it for free. It's where you get to be in this group to get more information like this stuff that I don't share on YouTube or I don't share in the podcast. And so if you want to join that, go to unstoppablemorning.com. Go sign up. It's free. You get a whole bunch of free stuff. And when you transform your morning, you'll transform your life. So that's the best place to start. Unstoppablemorning.com.